Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Madras Management Association, a very warm welcome to one and all to this prestigious MMA Women Managers Convention 2013 on the theme Beyond Equality. MMA has lined up a galaxy of outstanding personalities for sharing their valuable experience on the most appropriate theme, Beyond Equality. We are also proud to share with you that this convention is being webcast live. A very warm welcome to all our viewers who are watching this live. This is being webcast worldwide. We have our chapters in Trichy, Salem, Ambur, Puducherry who are watching this live. A warm welcome to all of them too. We begin this convention with the inaugural session, and I now invite our dignitaries for the inaugural session to take their place on the dais. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome them with a round of applause. Our chief guest for today, Mr. Mahesh Bhatt, film director. Ms. Mary Rose Brooks, Executive Director and CEO, Map Knowledge Limited, UK. Mr. Venki Rajgopal, President, Madras Management Association and Managing Director, Indian Terrain Fashions Limited. Please, the applause has to keep going, ladies and gentlemen. Ms. Amita Bishnoi, Chairperson, MMA Women Managers Convention and Director, Hydropower Corporation Limited. Ms. Sabita Rao, Director, Cerebrus Consultants, and Group Captain R. Vijay Kumar, Executive Director, Madras Management Association. A very warm welcome to one and all on the dais. Ladies and gentlemen, we begin this inaugural session with the invocation song on Goddess Shakti. To render the song, may I now invite Ms. Padmaja. I request the audience to please rise for the invocation song.
அம்மா அருள் புரி அடைக்கலம் நீ அம்மா அருள் புரி அடைக்கலம் நீ மாங்காடு தன்னில் அமர்ந்த மங்களவல்லியே மனமிரங்கி எம்மை வாழ்த்தி அருள்வாய் அம்மா அம்மா அருள் புரி அடைக்கலம் நீ நீங்காத துயர்களையே நீங்கிடச் செய்தாயே நீங்காத துயர்களையே நீங்கிடச் செய்தாயே ஓம்கார ரூபிணியே எந்தன் சிவநாயகியே ஓம்கார ரூபிணியே எந்தன் சிவநாயகியே கள் கண்ட தெய்வமேன கருணையின் வடிவமேன கள் கண்ட தெய்வமேன கருணையின் வடிவமேன காமாட்சி கந்தல் தாய் நீ எந்தனுக்கும் தாயல்லவோ காமாட்சி கந்தல் தாய் நீ எந்தனுக்கும் தாயல்லவோ அம்மா அருள் புரி அடைக்கலம் நீ அம்மா அம்மா அம்மா.
Thank you, Ms. Padmaja, for that excellent rendition. Can we have a round of applause for Ms. Padmaja, ladies and gentlemen? I now request our chief guest, Mr. Mahesh Bhatt, to kindly present a floral bouquet to Ms. Padmaja. Continuing our tradition, may I now request our chief guest, Mr. Mahesh Bhatt, guest of honor, Ms. Mary Rose Brooks, to please step forward to light the auspicious Kuttu Vilakku, as we say in Tamil. I also request other dignitaries on the dais to please accompany our chief guest and guest of honor. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen on the dais. Mr. Venki Rajagopal is the President of Madras Management Association and Managing Director, Indian Terrain Fashions Limited. I now invite Mr. Venki Rajagopal to deliver the formal welcome address.
Ladies and gentlemen, of all the events that we conduct in the Madras Management Association, and of all the subjects that we deliberate, I believe that this convention for the women managers is perhaps the most significant for a variety of reasons. It is my belief that today's subject, beyond equality, is not something of significance as a point in time you reach, but it is not in sequence. It is not as if it goes from unequal opportunity to beyond equality and opportunity. These three have to be viewed simultaneously as three engines of change which need to come over. One in terms of the action we take in society and government. And I think beyond equality refers to the change in attitude, change in the mindset of women, which has to arrive, which has to become a reality if all that we are heralding to happen as equal opportunity is truly to be felt and enjoyed by women across the world. To set some context, I would say that protection of women, their dignity, ensuring that they are equal in every stage and every phase of life, be it their home, be it their business, be it at work, wherever they may be, being equal is absolutely a given. There is no question of this ever being up for debate. What perhaps is of societal concern across the world is the speed of implementing an environment in which this equal opportunity can truly be enjoyed, felt, and allows women in every walk of life, and especially in business and work, which is the focus of our convention today, to take advantage, to really be in a position to take advantage of that equal opportunity. In my mind, it is a question of how fast society can redress, people can redress the mindset we have, the mindset under which we labor, which will allow beyond equality in terms of, as it juxtaposed to equal opportunity, to actually become a living, breathing aspect of our lives, especially the lives of women. Yesterday was the World's Women's Day, and perhaps that sets a terrific context for what we are talking about today. It was so reassuring, I'm sure, to hear the bugle, so to speak, of action being blown across the world, in every international forum, by every leader of any repute. Everywhere you heard about this global imperative to ensure, to make sure that there was a dramatic urgency in giving equal opportunity to women. And that is a reassuring context in which to talk about today's theme, which is beyond equality. I believe that today's woman is not really seeking equal opportunity to that of man. I don't think that is all that they need to be assured of. Equal opportunity in the manner that a man has opportunity is just not enough for the woman to really enjoy the equal opportunity which will one day become a true reality. I think for them, beyond equality has to go beyond demanding just equal opportunity. And now is the time to frame that need, that requirement. Now is the time to inject that sensitivity into the way people think, organizations think, to ensure that equal opportunity is truly a reality as far as women are concerned. And in that, what I despair when I look around, I was reading some statistics as we were preparing for this convention, and even in a country like the United States, where equal opportunity and women in senior positions of management has been a growing number, the percentage is just 13% of senior managers in America are women. If it's such a small number in the United States, I despair. I really don't know how minuscule it is going to be in this country, in India. And to all of you ladies sitting here, if that is how small the number of women are in positions of leadership, then what I despair is, who is going to change the environment? Who is going to create that sensitivity which a woman needs to really succeed in the workplace? And that is what Beyond Equality is all about. So when you ask the question, who is going to mentor the women of the future? Who is going to drive this change? And all we see are men running organizations and institutions. I really am worried. And it's not my case that men are insensitive, but I just don't think they have what it takes to understand the sensitivity which a woman needs to be able to perform in an organization to the best of her capabilities, to be able to balance the multiple roles she has to as a woman, as a wife, daughter, whatever it may be. To be all of that and yet be successful, it requires that the environment at the workplace, the environment in organization should change. And that change can only be driven by women like you, who are in the world of business, who are professionals, and for that you have to aspire to be leaders. I sense that there is a lack of professional ambition, and perhaps caused due to the constraints, due to the multiple roles you play, which does not urge you or encourage you or give you the circumstances to go where you have to go to really create the change you need to create. And the Beyond Equality from a woman's point of view is what you're going to drive to get there. I quote President Barack Obama. He spoke in a commencement speech last year in a women's college in America, and he said it is no longer about women getting their rightful places at the table, but it is about women getting their rightful places at the heads of the tables. And that's what is required if this tectonic shift is required in the mindset of organizations which allows women to truly enjoy equal opportunity if and as and definitely when it does arrive. That is the demand which should be placed by women. It is no longer about just being equal to men. Given the circumstances, I'm absolutely sure that there will come a time very soon when they contribute far more dramatically, in greater proportion and with greater sensitivity than what men contribute to this world economic order. So as I say, as I wind down my introductory remarks in setting a context, all I can say is that if I was a woman, the one dream I would have is that in the generations to come, I would dream that 50% of our institutions are run by women and 50% of our homes are run by men. That would really be perfect. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all once more to what is going to be an extremely stimulating day of discussion about the Beyond Equality and what it means for women. It also gives me great pleasure at this point of time to welcome Mr. Mahesh Bhatt, our chief guest. He's a phenomenal speaker. We all know that his views on subjects like these truly create debate, and wherever it has created debate, it has always led to an improved thinking on the subject. Ms. Mary Brooks, who's our guest of honor, has come in from England. A very warm welcome to you, madam. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, all of you are here, past presidents. I see you in large number today. Sit back, relax, and enjoy what I think is going to be a phenomenal day of deliberation. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Sabita Rao is the director with Cerberus Consultants and head of the Southern Operations of Cerberus Consultants. In her career spanning over 30 years, she has worked extensively in HR and consulting. She is an expert in human resource management and has worked on all areas of HR from strategy to implementation. Ladies and gentlemen, I now invite Ms. Sabita Rao to present the convention design and overview.
working?
It's okay. The mic is fine?
Yeah, should be fine. Morning. Sorry for the small glitch, it always happens. It's really quite joyous to see all of you here. I think we have more than 500 women here and maybe 30, 40 men. But thank you both men and women for being here today. And it's indeed our proud privilege at Cerebris to have designed this day for you. This year we chose the theme Beyond Equality. And let me just try and give you the reasoning behind this. Over the last few years, we've looked at and stared at issues like how do we balance between work and home. This is the story of our lives. Some of us work more than one shift. As Anu has always told me here, it's the ubiquitous second or maybe the third shift that we work. And sometimes there's a sense of, working too much and not being able to cope. So we wanted to go beyond the theme of equality and then look at respect, look at inclusiveness, and look at the issues that really matter to women, not just in India, but everywhere. The issue of women has taken center stage because of some of the atrocities that have been perpetuated. And I recall Christine Lagarde, when she opened the Davos Summit, she dedicated her opening to our victim here in India and to Malala Yousaf. And she said in somewhere that you need to dare to be different. And that's really some of the thinking which said that we want to go beyond equality and not necessarily be the same. There are a billion voices rising, and you can see some of these pictures. What does it mean? Does it mean that men take care of the home? Does it mean that enough is enough? Does it mean that women get more independent? It means this and many more things. The time is now. I think women's issues, for various reasons, have taken center stage, and the time to act is now. I'm going to very quickly run you through the survey design, the convention design, and what each session is about very quickly. The inaugural session, we have Mr. Mahesh Bhatt, thank you. Mary, thank you. Two very different perspectives. I'm sure you're going to enjoy this thoroughly. We then have a session where we have perspectives from the world of business and perspectives and reflections from the world of the not-for-profits. And this is the time to look back and reflect on what does all this mean. This is the first business session. The next session has the Cerebris CEO, Anita, chairing it. And we have Bindu from the IFMR Trust and Sangeeta from the world of business. And this is a very hands-on session. It's about strategies for work, very specific to work. How do you cope with all the demands right from entry to the time you get very senior? We can't wait for this. Mr. Anthony, he's here. This is the post-lunch session. We have a quiz, and it's going to be real fun. We have a panel discussion with many, many interesting panelists. Dr. Pritika, I can see you here. Thank you. Dr. Mini Rao, a psychologist. We have Anusha, Aparna, and Devasena. And this year, we conducted a survey. Thank you, Sandhya. You sparked the idea. We surveyed men. We did not survey women. And some of the survey results are in the mandate. We believe we can take this forward next year, and we have lots of ideas. Thank you, Anu, Suchint, and Radhika, who helped us with this. This panel will be very, very interesting. And last but not the least, we have two very outstanding women, very brave, courageous women. We have Gautami from the world of film, and we have Renuka from the world of business. They will close the sessions for us. Enjoy the convention, carry on the conversations, and live your dreams. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. Ms. Mary Rose Brooks is a Senior Management and Leadership Executive of MAP Knowledge Limited, UK. This is a national and international training organization. She has over 35 years of experience in management and leadership training and has worked as a highly qualified teacher, trainer, speaker, assessor, verifier, and executive coach and leadership mentor. She is also the senior advisor and master trainer of EduQuest India Institute Private Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, I now invite Ms. Mary Rose Brooks to deliver the keynote address.
Thank you. Mother Teresa once said, "What I do, you cannot do. What you do, I cannot do. The needs are great, and none of us, including me, can ever do great things. But we all can do small things with great love, and together we can do something wonderful." Honourable ladies, distinguished guests, good morning. This is something I've been learning, forgive me. Colli Vanicum. I'll apologise again soon. My profound thanks to my host, EduQuest India, and the Madras Management Association for inviting me here today. I'm very proud and honoured to be able to address you this morning. And I was particularly, obviously this prestigious conference of marking the International Women's Day too in Chennai, Beyond Equality, Looking Back and Beyond. I thought a title on that, or a word on that title was very interesting, and it's really that word, equality. Anne Widdecombe was one of the UK's best well-known members of Parliament. I was at a conference with her once, and one of the audience said to her, "What was it like being a woman in a man's world?" She said, "No, I was an MP in an MP's world." Until this happens, folks, until men have the ability to bear children as a common thing, we'll have an imbalance on equality and how we'll operate. But nature made women the childbearers for a very good reason. Why? Because women have got an inbuilt ability to do many things in many situations. Women can be a friend, a teacher, a confidant, a mother, a wife, a mentor, a coach, a provider, a planner, a cook, a nurse, a referee, an employee, a tailor, an employer, and also a leader. So many competent attributes make a woman. So I struggle with that word, equality, because woman plainly is the most advanced and competent human on the planet. Sometimes necessity is the mother of change, and it's the catalyst for culture change too. And a good example of this is the UK history of women's growth, where women were utilised in the 1940s to work on the land and in the munitions factories, because all the men were sent away and conscripted to go to fight in World War II. So that made it a common thing for women to work. It wasn't then uncommon. It broke the tradition of women being at home. It became accepted as the norm. Okay, my auntie, who's the second on the left on this photograph with her spade, she used to say, a woman is like good tea, and you never know how strong she is until you put her in hot water. By the 1960s, there was a revolution in the UK as to how women were differently accepted in work, home life and play. Men were no longer viewed as the only breadwinners. Again, if I may, using the UK as an example, and indeed many other rich Western countries at AAA rating aside, where lifestyles and money are important. More money is required now to maintain a rich lifestyle in an expensive household, and it's more than one parent can bring to that household. So it's very common now for both parents in a family to work full-time in order to bring the money in to live out their expensive lifestyles. Also, it's a growing trend for women born in the 70s and 80s onwards to have a career instead of going into family life, or have a career first before family life, which is why we've got a lot of older mothers now in the UK, because they're doing their career first, and that means they can go back to it later. Unfortunately, we've got a growing army of single parents too, which the state benefits does much to encourage, which is a sad state of affairs. But as the rest of the world changes then and countries' economies grow, and Asia is now fast becoming the leading economic power now, opportunities for all business people must surely show themselves. Let me share with you some research statistics. I was quite shocked. It wasn't until I was invited here that I researched these in depth. And there is some research from Grant Thornton, which shows the percentile of women who are in senior management positions. You see, from 2004, they started to measure 19%, 2007, 24%, 2009, 24%, steadied out. But what happened in 2011? It dropped to 20%. Then it was going back up in 2012. So you can see that there's a trend about rising that number again, but we still need to catch up some to get back to 2009. If I look at this research too, this was Asian research, so it's bringing it more into the specific area of what's going on in and around Asia, Central Asia, Southern Asia, and around that way. If you look at, we're going down this list here, Australia, Hong Kong, China, Taiwan, Singapore. The blue line are the executive committees, and the darker line are the people that sit on boards, are the women who actually work on the board. And you look at India, it may be giving you a bit of a skewed example, really, because if you look at their low percentage, it's got to be relative to the number of women who actually work in the population. So I researched this, and please forgive me if this is a wrong number, but I researched it. About 37% of women only work in India. The rest are traditional family and at home. So it made me wonder why these figures were so low. And I hope that gone are the days when women were considered no match for powerful men in this world. The male-dominated world was always reluctant to even acknowledge the fact that women were as good as men on the parameters of hard work, intelligence, and leadership traits. Men do not need to be afraid, just accepting. India has its own pool of such bold and fearless women who have made a mark for themselves in this country as well as overseas. They range from a lady in Delhi who has started a ladies-only taxi firm to some of the more famous names that you will recognise, I'm sure. There's Indra Nuya, who's the current position as the CEO of PepsiCo. And also there's a Chennai-based entrepreneur who I am going to attempt now to pronounce her name. Please forgive me. Sujata Bugalande. Okay. So, if we think, why are these statistics so low? If we look across the world, what causes them? Why is there only 21% of women on the senior management level in the world? What a low number. So there was some research by McKinsey, and they researched the reasons of why and looked at why these numbers are so low. Why are women so unrepresented in many of the occupational areas? And they're... sometimes it's just choice alone. So sometimes women just purely want to not go into those roles, which I found to be quite surprising. But there you go, the research facts back that up. Some women simply decide not to progress to a board level. There's some interesting research too in an organisation, in a big organisation, where a survey of 4,000 employees at big companies, 36% of men said they want to be a CEO, only 18% of women said the same. So the research is based on those kind of statistics. So let's go back to our percentage figures and look at why the statistics may be so low. Lower pay. It happens in the UK all the time. There is no parity about women doing the same job as their male counterparts, and the pay is lower. So there's one reason. Management styles. I think this is an interesting one. Women view that management styles, or the board think that management styles should be quite aggressive and authoritative, and they think that's the way that a board should run. So that's another reason. Recruitment, organisational culture too. If an organisation's carry on in the culture that they always have done, it's about somebody trying to change that culture and make it different. If you just go with the flow and go with the tide, nothing's ever going to change. So somebody has to stop and put their hand up and say, let's change this into a different direction. Recruitment. Many people recruit in their own image. I don't think I need to say any more about that. Discrimination. It still exists. There's many laws now in the workplace to protect all of us, from health and safety up to women's rights of maternity pay, maternity leave, trying to keep that job open. But unfortunately, discrimination still exists. Development opportunities too. They seem to be far more regularly given to men than they are to women. So they're few and far between. Occupational segregation too. It appears that the people that are promoted to the board and senior level are from hard backgrounds, engineering and those sort of areas, and not the softer routes that women come up, maybe HR. Appearance. This is a big issue, I think, appearance. Women feel that they are judged more on their appearance than men. Okay, I have another thing to say, which we just spoke about earlier, actually. I think if women want to be taken seriously as well in the workplace, then appearance is one of the issues that they should consider too. Childcare. Getting good childcare to look after families is problematic, and it's problematic all over the world. International experience too. Women seem far less likely to be offered overseas and international experience. And I can vouch for that because If I go on a plane to anywhere, I'm one of the very few women on the plane. It's mostly male orientated, so I can judge that to be absolutely correct. And self-confidence. Women seem to think that men are more confident, so they seem to lack more confidence to go up into those top positions. Okay. Let's move on to what is happening and how and what can be done to improve that situation. One of them is quotas for women on the board, government quotas. There's a lot of talk, and I'll talk you where this comes from in a minute. It's imposing a legal percentage for organisations to provide a percentage of women board members. It was influenced by developers in Norway. Policymakers in Sweden had formally considered the potential to introduce a specified national quota for the proportion of women at boardroom positions. But they subsequently decided against it. However, it is still a big topic in the UK, USA, as well again in Sweden and in other countries too. That made me think. Okay, got a question for you now. Is this healthy, or should women attain those positions by themselves? I want you to tell me. So what I'd like you to do, I want you to do a very, very quick debate with your partner, with your immediate neighbour who you're sitting next to. For 1 minute, I want you to express your view about that subject area. Is it healthy? Should women get there by themselves? I'm going to get you to do a show of hands in a minute, and agree, disagree, and then we'll do a quick research in the room to see where you sit. So if you'd like to take 2 minutes, just turn very quickly to the person sitting next to you and give your opinion of that subject area. 1 minute each, please. Off you go. Okay, do you want to change over to the other person now? Are we ready for a show of hands? Nod at me. Okay. Let's have a hand show now. Vote. Do you agree with the quota? Nobody. Do you disagree? Yes. I agree with you. I think women should get there by themselves. Because what will happen if you put onto the board because your country has a percentile quota, you're going to be considered what? You got there because somebody put you there. So yeah, get there under your own steam. I agree with you. Okay, let me just move on a little minute. The Indian government, I think this is fascinating. The Indian government have got plans now for upskilling 500 million people before 2023. What a fantastic number to be able to even think about educating and upskilling. And it gives them a dilemma, really. It's a unique dilemma of that many people. And, you know, how do you know which sections and skills to give those many people? So it's a unique dilemma. Given that 67% of Indian employers struggle to find workers who meet their requirements. So that's a mammoth task that's sitting there, yeah? Do you agree? You can nod your heads at me. Okay. So maybe one of the answers then is to promote and educate the 63% of Indian women who don't work at the moment. I'm not suggesting all the whole country's women should work, but there's a good amount in there that could. There's so much talent. There's talented women out there who want to become leaders and managers. So one of that issues is about education and training. EduQuest India, my host, and my organisation, MK Limited, are here in Chennai promoting ILM products, which is the Institute of Leadership and Management, to help with those senior leaders and managers roles and all of those important board positions too. Okay. To lead the newly skilled business sectors, you're going to need senior leadership and management professionals with HE, higher education, vocational qualifications. Generic education that covers the operational aspects of all business sectors, not just women, everybody. It's generic neutral, absolutely everybody. Not just theory-based. EduQuest India are bringing that opportunity here in Chennai, professional qualifications for professional people. So education matters. I noticed in the agenda too, it said how we're going to go beyond equality. How are we going to look at putting women up into more senior positions and more board positions within organisations? For me, it's just got to be higher education. It's just got to be. And that's followed by being a business person in a business world. Back to Anne Widdecombe's comment, not a woman in a man's world, not special considerations, a business person working in a business world. I think the answer to the how, please excuse me to referring to my notes, the answer to the how, it could be the most critical outcome of today's discussion. As I've mentioned, education and training have got to be the most practical answer to this. Unfortunately, most of you who are assembled here together have got higher education achievements already, and probably more than some of your fraternity. To add something professional to that academic rigour that you already have needs to study another kind of training, professional training of executive managers and strategic leaderships. So it's seen as a business science, not just something you get promoted up into. It's actually a business science. It's a technical skill, being an executive manager and a strategic leader. Don't subscribe to believing that only people, particularly women, who with high connections and those with glamorous attributes alone can climb the ladder of success to the corporate world. It just isn't true. The demands of the 21st century corporate world are very challenging. This means that the most resourceful and creative individuals can rise to meet the expectation of all stakeholders, whether it is a woman or a man. Only those professionals who have prepared themselves for a crucial journey and developed themselves progressively can get a position to take up that challenge and prove their worth. Ask yourself this question: what differentiates me from others on my CV when it comes to promotion and for special selection? What makes you different? Remember, gender neutral. Thanks to global competition, standards and pressures and requirements to climb the ladder, it means it's based more on competence now than it is on any other considerations. So look around you. Who could compete with you if you improve your continuous professional development within leadership and management? Again, highlights that specialism of going into specialised higher training. Be empowered with the corporate world's best practices. Accepted benchmarks are acknowledged and rewarded worldwide. Higher education in leadership and management is based on best practice. It contains research from all over the world. It allows people in countries to look over the parapet of their own culture and see what's going on. If you're operating in a free world trade market, then it's imperative that you know how everybody operates. I know a lot of academic derelicts who can quote theory at me. I suspect those people wouldn't be able to put it into practice in the workplace. So that makes the difference. We are going to be around for all of the day. I'm going to be around for most of the day. Please feel free to come and speak to me later. I should be very pleased to speak to you as well. And we'll gladly tell you more. There's also the EduQuest India guys are roaming around and lurking in corners. So I'm sure you'll bump into them as well during the day. I'd like to leave you with a theme. If you educate a woman, you educate a whole family, you educate a whole generation, and you educate the business that she works in too. Questions for me I'll answer later, and I'd like to thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mary Brooks, on your thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, MMA comes out with a monthly news magazine, Business Mandate. On the occasion of the MMA Women Managers Convention 2013, we have brought out a special issue of the magazine. May I now request Ms. Amita Bishnoi, Convention Chairman, to brief on the convention special issue of Business Mandate.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to brief about the special mandate of this convention. MMA comes out with an eagerly awaited monthly news magazine amongst the management fraternity, Business Mandate, every month. While today's executive is loaded with a lot of information from other sources, Business Mandate presents a digest of related information of interest to the executive, health, entertainment, new management books, and videos, as well as a summary of MMA programs for the next 2 months are all part of this Business Mandate. Business Mandate has a readership of over 40,000 who feature among the leading business groups in South India and are also made up of dynamic medium-scale companies as well as reputed professionals from all walks of industry. Other than MMA members, Business Mandate is forwarded to notable opinion makers, industry leaders, multinational group heads, and a host of distinguished personalities that form an ideal niche target market. On this occasion of Women Manager Convention 2013, we have brought about a special issue of the magazine consisting of interesting articles for the benefit of our readers and women delegates attending this convention today. I would also like to compliment our group captain, Vijay Kumar, Executive Director of MMA, Editor of Business Mandate, and his team for their association and involvement with Business Mandate. May I now request our distinguished chief guest, Mr. Mahesh Bhatt, Film Director, to step forward and do us the honor of releasing the first copy of Business Mandate and hand over to our guest of honor, Ms. Mary Rhodes, and other dignitaries on the dais. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I now have the privilege of introducing our chief guest. Mr. Mahesh Bhatt began his career in 1973 in the film industry. After a spate of films, he gained critical acclaim and commercial acclaim for his groundbreaking films, all of them born from his own unique experiences. He is the chairman of Vishesh Entertainment that makes 3 to 4 films a year and is also the creative backbone of Fish Eye Network. Mr. Mahesh Bhatt has not limited himself to being merely a filmmaker. After having directed over 50 feature films, he has now moved on to writing books, screenplays, being involved with documentaries, and standing up for causes he strongly believes in. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our chief guest, Mr. Mahesh Bhatt.
Vanakkam. It's rather intimidating to talk to a house full of women. So very good morning to all you lovely ladies who hold up half the sky, as Mao Zedong would say. For me, accepting the role of a woman as a fountainhead of wisdom is very easy because I came from a home which was headed by a mother. The first CEO whom I rubbed shoulders with was my own mama. She was a Shia Muslim woman who came into the world of movies when sound came into the movies. And if my father, who was a sound engineer, had not taken a detour from the job that you're looking for in the Navy and come to Mumbai, they wouldn't have met and I wouldn't be talking to you guys. What was unusual about this woman, my mother, was that she had the courage to live life on her own terms. Being a Muslim, she was in those days forbidden to have what is called the legal contract with my father. But she was so much in love with him that she said, fine, I will live outside the frontiers of this social construct because it's my choice. And so, without making a big thing about what she was doing, she lived in those days, according to some, in sin with my father, who would come and see her because he had another home. But with great dignity brought us up, me and my sisters, with one clear thought that I choose to live my life on my terms. I want to be on the driving seat, and I want to be the one who chooses where to turn, when to turn. She paid a price for standing up and daring to live life on her own terms. But what she taught me was, unless you do that, you really do not become a person. And when she died, this woman who chose to masquerade herself as a Hindu woman because she did not want her faith to interfere with the prosperity of the children, she simply came to me and said that I am a Muslim woman, I choose to go the Muslim way, so please bury me. Those were the simple choices she made. She lived her life, lived with a man in those days. I was born in 48, free India. Unheard of. But she did not impose her ideas on anybody. She said, if I am an aberration, so be it. But this is my life. The wisdom of that woman was extraordinary. She said, I came from a home where her mother would say that women are grass under your feet, to be trampled upon. She said, I dared to fight against that construct. So this woman called Shireen Muhammad Ali was an extraordinary woman. She was the first CEO that I rubbed shoulders with. And she told me life is a daring adventure like that or nothing. And it was she who taught me that unless you have the courage to stand alone, you do not become a person. The very fact I can with great dignity narrate her story is because here was this extraordinary woman who was the architect of her own life. She was the captain of her own fate. And ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, it takes us a long time to realize that the world is run by simple, ordinary people who live their life with dignity. In this celebrity age, heroes and heroines do a lot of harm to our society. It is the courage and the audacity of ordinary, simple people that makes the wheels of society turn. As I speak about my mother, I'm reminded of another extraordinary man. Not a man, I would call him, he was a eunuch, the person who belongs to the third gender. In the holy month of Ramzan, a few years ago in Mumbai, a eunuch who was a hairdresser in the Mumbai film industry was going to offer prayers when he heard the cry of a child. And to his horror, he discovered a girl child was left in the garbage bin to die and was being nibbled at by rats. This eunuch picked up that girl child, did not go to offer prayers that day, but struggled to keep that child who was almost dead alive. The child lived, and this eunuch became the guardian of this girl child. He brought up this girl child by dancing, by doing bit roles in the movies, but gave that girl child a life of great dignity, educated this girl child, sent her to school, and then when the going got tough, he came to me to ask for money because I had known him for higher education. We made a film out of the life of this extraordinary eunuch called Tamanna, which was the first film made by my daughter, Pooja Bhatt. The film got a national award, and with great difficulty we tried to get tax exemption because grim movies which hold the mirror to the Indian society of female infanticide do not find takers. I remember in those days when we would go from pillar to post asking ministers to give it tax exemption, there would be ministers who would say, female infanticide doesn't exist in India, it's a problem of China. It was India of 1997. India was living in denial, and perhaps still is living in denial, that its hand is drenched with blood of its girl child. You pretend to worship the female form in your temples, but actually, privately in your homes, you kill them. So is the woman safe? In the womb? On the street? Where? These are the questions that still weigh us down. The movie released, and it was not a box office success. We got a national award, we got a medal. And I was a little despondent that movies like this do not find takers. But years later, I was traveling through Rajasthan, and I met a woman activist who works on the girl-child issue. And she came to see me on a hot summer day, and she thanked me profusely for saying that, for making a film like this. She says, do you know, this movie that you guys made has become a tool. I take this movie and I travel from village to village, and I use this as a tool to inspire women and shame men. Your film has contributed to lives being saved, and that really made me mighty pleased. So movies are society's dreams. I made a film called Arth in 1982, 83, which was sourced from my own life, my extramarital relationship, and the whole marriage scenario, and the thirst in a woman for self-actualization through the perspective of my wife. And I remember it was played by the great Shabana Azmi, this role. I remember when I was struggling to craft out the climax, wherein I wanted the heroine to walk away without, when the heroine turns her back to the husband, philandering husband, who comes back and says that my relationship with my girlfriend is over, can I come back? And she asks him this fundamental question, that if I was in your place, would you accept me? And he says no, and she says goodbye to him. And then having done that, she doesn't even jump into the bed of her boyfriend. She turns his back to him also and says, I want to be on my own. I want to walk on my two shaky feet. However shaky they are, they have to be my feet. I remember when I made that film, the film was lying in the cans for almost a year. Because that was in India, which couldn't even dream of thinking of how would a film work where a woman doesn't forgive the husband who has come back after having erred. What nonsense. This can't be done. And this is bad enough. Having done that, she doesn't go on and use another man as the crutch to make, ends meet. This film won't work. But the truth is, in the year 1983, when this movie released, and the first day, first show, the applause for this movie when this woman takes this decision came from the front benchers in the cinema hall. India had embraced that film. There was a dream that the Indian women were dreaming, which perhaps somehow I had sensed it. But today, as we have this epidemic of rape in our country, the questions that haunt us are, have we even provided toilets to our women? I was recently in the Kumbh Mela in Allahabad. There was a pontiff whom I did not look very respectfully towards, but finally he shocked me when he said that what he was doing. He was having this crusade wherein he said, in every village there's a temple, but there is no toilet for our women there. He says that what we can do is provide toilets to every village, because our women psychologically live with this dread of how they would answer nature's call. And there are no safe places. And every time they go out, they subject themselves to unimaginable hazards. So in a country which is screaming from its rooftops about gender equality, we must first do something on the ground, at least provide toilets to our women. And this is something that Pontiff was doing, and it really kind of woke me up that things are happening on the ground in India about which we have no idea. The other thing is something which struck me when I was about to come for this conference. I was told by a friend of mine who had read this piece which I had written years ago, which I think is important to leave you with, is that while we celebrate the woman and we scream on the rooftops and demand that they should be more than equals, there's something which I want to leave you with, is a thought. A few years ago, during the Iraq war, I saw photographs of American soldiers sadistically humiliating and abusing detainees in Iraq. These photos made me sick. I bet they did the same to you. But they also broke my heart. I had no illusions about the United States mission in Iraq, but I certainly did have some illusions about women. Women were, for me, symbols of compassion and tolerance on this planet. There was this photo of a woman soldier smiling an impish little smile and giving the thumbs up sign from behind a pile of naked Iraqi men, as if to say, hello America, I'm in Abu Ghraib. Then there was another photo of a woman in uniform dragging a naked Iraqi man on a leash. I bet you have seen these photographs. I wonder whether these women were encouraged to participate in these brutal games which the conquering army often plays with the defeated one. Or were these deeds of brutality the deeds of these women? All I know is that even if they were encouraged by male soldiers to join them in the savage game, these gentle creatures of Mother Nature didn't say no. Ladies, the 7 soldiers charged with the abuse of prisoners in Abu Ghraib, out of them 3 were women. Maybe I shouldn't have been so shocked. We know that good people can do terrible things under the right circumstances. Maybe these ladies just wanted to fit into the man's world. There was a time when I honestly believed that women were genetically programmed to be more respectful to other people and to people of alien cultures. I sincerely believed that women were more capable of genuine peacekeeping. I believed that if this world was handed over to women, it would turn into a paradise. Well, that's what I thought, but I don't think that anymore. I too once saw men as the perpetual perpetrators and women as perpetual victims. The male sexual violence against women as the root of all injustice. Maybe this sort of feminism makes more sense in our country these days, where we seem to be in the midst of a rape epidemic. There is no denying that women who hold up half the sky have been trampled upon for centuries. There's a heartbreaking line in the biography of Lady Mao. She said that my mother used to say that I must come to terms that this is the world run by men. And she said, no, I thought that I was a peacock amongst these hen. And she did what she did. In college, we used to have lots of debates over whether it was biology or conditioning that made women superior to men. One thing was clear, that this assumption of their superiority was beyond debate. After all, we saw women do most of the caring work in our culture. And we noticed, at least in our homes, that women were consistently less inclined towards the idea of war than men. Most of us believed then that all human beings needed to do was to make the world kinder and less violent, was to have women to make them a part of the system. In a system which was run by men, to have them assimilate into the system. We wanted women to compete so that they could become CEOs, ministers, judges, and opinion makers in this male-dominated world. Those were the times when a lot of us in the world believed that once women gained power and authority, once they achieved a critical mass within the institution of society, women will change this world for the better. But I have to say that in the 70s, when I had just begun my film career, when India's First Lady Prime Minister Indira Gandhi clamped emergency and clamped down free speech, me and my friends who were then in the early 20s found out to our horror that we were perhaps wrong. Our ideas were just not true. But what I have certainly learned from those pictures from Abu Ghraib is that the uterus is not a substitute for a conscience. And menstrual periods are not the foundation of morality. This does not mean gender equality isn't worth fighting for its own sake. It is, and I will keep fighting for it along with you as long as I live. But gender equality cannot all alone bring out a just and peaceful world. What I have finally come to understand, sadly and irreversibly, is that the kind of feminism based on an assumption of moral superiority on the part of women is lazy and self-indulgent form of feminism. Self-indulgent because it assumes that a victory for a woman, whether a diploma, a promotion, a right to serve alongside with men in military, is a victory for humanity. And lazy because it assumes that we have only one struggle, the struggle for gender equality, when in fact we have many more, the struggle for peace and for social justice. Women do not change institutions simply just by assimilating into them. We need a woman who can say no, not just to a bullying husband or a persistent boyfriend, but to the military or corporate hierarchy within which she finds herself. We need a kind of woman who doesn't want to be one of the boys when the boys are acting like sadists or fools. And we need a kind of woman who isn't trying to assimilate but to infiltrate and subvert the institution she goes into. You can do these. You can be those women. A feminist once said, if you think equality is the goal, your standards are too low. It is not enough to be equal to men when the men are acting like beasts. It is not enough to assimilate. We need to create a world worth assimilating into. I'm counting on you. Don't let me down. Go out there, raise hell. Good luck.
Thank you, sir, for that very inspiring address, and thank you for sharing some of your own personal experience. I now request President of Madras Management Association, Mr. Venki Rajagopal, to present a memento to our chief guest. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause to our chief guest, Mr. Mahesh Bhatt. Thank you, sir, for having accepted our invitation to be present here. I also request Mr. Venki Rajagopal to present a memento to our guest of honor, Ms. Mary Rose Brooks. I now invite Group Captain Vijay Kumar to deliver the formal vote of thanks.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies, I always follow the president, gentlemen, few gentlemen. It's indeed a pleasure to be here to deliver the formal vote of thanks, and there are so many people who made this event grand. To begin with, Ms. Madmaja for rendering an excellent invocation song, and distinguished chief guest, Mr. Mahesh Bhatt, film director. I think when I spoke to him, he was readily agreed to come and speak to us, and I know how busy he was. He came all the way from Mumbai late last night, 11 o'clock landed here. Morning is here to deliver a very inspiring and thought-provoking address, which is going to set the tone for the entire day's celebration. Thank you so much, Mr. Mahesh Bhatt, for your presence today. And our guest of honor, Mary Rose Brooks, who come all the way from the United Kingdom to be with us today, and also deliver the keynote address this morning. She really brought out a very insightful address, Education Matters. If you educate your woman, you educate the entire house, entire home. Thank you so much, Mary Brooks. It's indeed a pleasure to have you with us. Ms. Savita Rao, who is our knowledge partner, and also Anita Ramachandran is also here for presenting the overview of the convention and design of the convention. She has been a great source of support to us. We are able to present you this great convention. Distinguished speakers and chairmen of various sessions who are here today, we're going to share the views in the subsequent sessions. Managing committee members headed by Mr. Venki Rajagopal, who has been a tremendous source of inspiration and support to us, and Ms. Amita Bishnoi, who is chairperson of Women Managers Convention. She's put in tremendous effort to present you this great convention. All of our sponsors, members of the media, all of them, we have been able to bring this high quality convention at a very, very highly subsidized rate because of the support of all the sponsors whose name have been indicated below. Personally, I want to say that it's been a great privilege for me to, we have been doing a number of conclaves and seminars in MMA. But when I do the women convention, and particularly when we do interact with women professionals and to bring in a high quality program, I can honestly tell you, it's fantastic to interact with them. They are very, very meticulous and so easy for me to handle with them. And I can quote example, be it Sabita's knowledge partner, me as my chairperson Amita, or our social media partner Anusha, or the lady who is going to be responsible for all our live webcasts, Rupa. I know Rupa this morning was in trouble because her staff was not there, and I know how she's going to manage, but she was here sharp 8 o'clock to do the work herself. That's a woman power, and we are indeed happy to present to you the convention. The new bold Indian woman who stands her ground, does not shy away from fighting injustice. Ladies and gentlemen, we are indeed happy to have each one of you, and I also want to thank all the viewers who are watching live this program from all over the world. Thank you, Rupa, for connecting us. And I wish all the women managers, delegates who are here today, have a great day, have a wonderful time, and you are the future of India, and you are the one hope of tomorrow. Thank you so much. Have a good, nice day of Women Convention. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of the inaugural session.